So guys, what do you think of my little build here? Got a little bit of a different setup here just before we start. I've got a microphone here, this blue snowball, and I've got the PC to the side here with my laptop at the side there, and we're using a Logitech Brio webcam. So bit of a different one. We'll see how this setup goes and if it works and what have you. Because obviously our main camera's kind of gone, so we're having to improvise a bit for our videos. Yeah, anyway, back to the PC. I think this build's come out quite alright. Hopefully you can see that there. You know, what do you guys think? I think it's kind of like that sort of black and silver, kind of quite nice theme. I think it's going quite, it's going on quite well there. Now, I will quickly get onto the benchmarks in a little bit, but we'll just have a little talk about the components here that I've used, and obviously talk about the price and what have you. So first of all, the price was £225 for this PC, which I think is pretty decent value actually. I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to actually get an AM4 build for £225. So, and considering it does have a half decent graphics card with it as well, that's pretty decent in my book. So let's talk through the components. Our AM4 motherboard is an ASUS Prime A320M-K. I believe it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure, but I'll put it below if not. But I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It's a micro ATX board for a micro ATX case, obviously. Just going to get the job done, basically. Nothing much to say about it. The processor is a Ryzen 5 1600, 6 cores with 12 threads. As you know, that's a little bit old now, guys, but it's not bad. It's a good entry level CPU still, and if you are building up PCs, it's not a bad one to have. I mean, I think ideally you'd want to go for like a Ryzen 5 2600 at least, because that gives you the Windows 11 support, compatible support out of the box without having to do like some kind of workaround in order to install Windows 10 and then install Windows 11 afterwards with like other things. Well, I won't mention it here because obviously YouTube won't be happy with me saying that, but there is workarounds for that obviously, but you can find that for yourselves. Solid enough processor, going to get the job done. Obviously for a very budget build this is fine, but anything more you would want a better CPU. 16 gigabytes of Corsair Vengeance LPX RAM, clocked at 3000 megahertz. Again, pretty standard there. So yeah, pretty standard. 16 gigabytes is always just kind of the standard that you go for a budget PC, and probably will be for the next few years even. So that's just standard there, and that's fine. We have a 512 gigabyte SSD from Silicon Power, sorry. Just my mind went blank there, but anyway. So again, 512 gigabyte is kind of standard for a budget PC, I'd say. That's kind of what you want to be aiming for your budget PCs. You can go up to 1 terabyte, but it's going to cost you more money, so I wouldn't go there, and 256 is just a bit too low nowadays, because you're only going to install like 2 games on that after you've kind of used up all your space, and I don't think people are going to be happy with that. So the 512 is a good sort of middle ground and will do. It's cheap, but it's also kind of just about enough space. So, and obviously people can upgrade it if they really want to. It's up to themselves to do that. And then the PSU was a Corsair CX 550F, a decent 550 watt power supply here from Corsair, a known brand. We don't want to go with any unknown brands when we, even if we're doing a budget PC, I wouldn't go with an unbranded PSU at all. I would still go, my go-tos anyway is Corsair #1. That's just where I go for a power supply. If not, EVGA will be the next one. If not, problem with Seasonic is they're too expensive, but they are good. So Seasonic is great, but obviously for budget PCs, no. Probably Be Quiet maybe are okay as well. MSI are decent as well for power supplies, but I would just say just stick with your Corsair CX sort of stuff. CX 500 or what have you, or CX 600, or this PC only needs like 450 watts, or not even that really, so that's fine. But 550 is a bit overkill, but it allows the user to upgrade the graphics card if they need to as well, so that's nice. And then the case is just this UNYKAch or whatever they call it. I don't know, this with a U thing, and it's just that sort of standard sort of case where it has, you know, like a RGB strip at the front with the ARGB fan at the back. You can use the ARGB if you actually have an ARGB port on your motherboard, but obviously this one doesn't, so we're not using that. We're just using the button at the front there to change the colours. And then obviously lastly is our graphics card, which is the Gigabyte GTX 1060 3GB Windforce OC edition. So yeah, a pretty decent, well, I suppose I say decent, but I mean it is old now. It is a very old graphics card, I'll be honest, but it is decent for 1080p gaming still. Just about, it can just about hold in there. So you know, I think what we'll do now is I'll talk through the benchmarks and we'll sort of see what this can do, this little PC. There we go, I've made it a little bit bigger now. So what I'll do is I'll put the gameplay over as I'm speaking here. So 1080p low, Fortnite was an average of 116, a minimum of 64, and a maximum of 169. So we haven't hit that 144 hertz sort of level in terms of you know, like that 144 hertz refresh rate. But overall, over 100 FPS average at Fortnite 1080p low is respectable, I still think. Let me know what you guys think, but I still think that's respectable from a £225 PC. Again, you know, that's not a lot of money, and we're playing Fortnite at 1080p low. You know, no performance settings here. This is 1080p low, and I think it was epic draw distance as well. So yeah, I think that's pretty respectable actually from such a cheap PC. I think you know, we've got some gaming here. You know, we've got some performance, so that's good. GTA 5 was the next game we used, and that's an average of 89, a minimum of 88, and a maximum of 92. So pretty consistent there. There wasn't really much sort of jumping up and down. I mean, Fortnite's always going to be a bit jumping up and down in terms of the frame rates, but fairly consistent for GTA 5. Over 60 FPS average as well, so you could knock up some of those settings up to the high or even potentially very high settings. If you wanted to, maybe put a little bit of AA in there and what have you, and you know, just boost up those settings just to make it a little bit better. So even though you hit like 60 FPS average, you'll have, you know, better graphical settings, so it would probably be worth it. It obviously depends. If you just really want the performance, then obviously leave them at 1080p low. But yeah, I think that's pretty decent. Again, GTA 5 is a very old game, but even so, you know, that's still a very popular game that people like to play. So £225 PC can obviously buy you that performance, which is good. Cyberpunk 2077 was an average of 54, a minimum of 41, and a maximum of 68. So at 54 average, we haven't hit the 60 FPS sort of target that we're looking for at 1080p. However, 54 is pretty close, and I'm fairly happy with that result because Cyberpunk is a very demanding game, even now, even though it's a sort of 4-year-old game, or maybe 5-year-old game. 4 or 5 anyway. But yeah, it's pretty demanding actually, that game still, and to actually get almost 60 FPS average, I think that's pretty respectable out of our very cheap PC. So let me know in the comments what you think of this little PC. I'm kind of going to aim for about, well, I'll probably list it at £325 and then come down to sort of, I mean, 275 is my absolute bottom line that I would accept for this when I sell it, but I'm kind of aiming for £300, and I think that's fair for what we've got here. You know, we've got an AM4 system with a GTX 1060 3GB, so I think that's fair enough at £300. I think that's a good price personally, and you'd be hard pressed to actually get this system for that price yourself if you were actually trying to build that, because I've obviously deal hunted very, very you know, very hard for these deals to even get to that price. So, you know, I think we have done very well here. I think we've got a nice little PC here, and it certainly looks, it's got that kind of like, you know, it's got that look of, you know, you could flip it and it could be sat on someone's desk for like a kid or someone, and I think it's come out pretty well. It's kind of, like I say, that sort of black and silver look is pretty decent in my opinion. It does look actually quite alright. Maybe having front fans would have been a little bit nicer, but again, that would have been a more expensive case, so I didn't want to go there. You could go there again. I mean, if this is your own PC, I probably would upgrade the graphics card slightly, maybe even the processor, and then obviously get a nicer case as well, like a more premium case. That might get you up to like £300 though, but even so, you would have a very nice PC at £300, so probably would be worth it actually. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of my little build here. Please subscribe to see my future videos, and please like the video if you did like this video and you are liking the content on this channel. And as always, guys, I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.